This is an interview with Baylee Harley for the Youngstown Historical Center of Industry and Labor oral history project titled Women at Work. The interview is being conducted at the Youngstown Historical Center of Industry and Labor, known as the Steel Museum, on April 27th, 2023. My name's Nicole Marino. Baylee. All right. So where did you and your family live when you were growing up?
Growing up, I lived out in Berlin Center, Ohio, out off of 534. We kind of moved around in that area, but mainly on 534.
Mm-hmm. What did your parents do for a living there?
My dad, he was a sheet metal worker for 25 years, and then later got out and worked in a couple fab shops. And then my mom, she's always been in the dentist industry, like dental assisting, and now she works for an oral surgeon's office.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
Western Reserve.
And when did you graduate?
2015.
Okay. What did you do after high school?
Okay, so it's a journey. So while I was in high school, I was able to attend MCCTC. Starting my junior year and into my senior year. So I started out going into cosmetology. Big change. I figured I would try it out. You know, I have family members that do it. I knew after my junior year that it wasn't for me. So I ended up finishing out my course. I went and took my tests, got my license, and I still keep it up to date till now. And then once I graduated, I turned around and went to their adult education side for welding, and that was like a 10-month course. So graduated welding school. All through that, I was working in a fab shop that my dad worked in Austin town. And when I graduated welding school, I was still a little confused on what I wanted to do. So I worked in a couple salons, and I did a couple serving jobs, and then I did that for about a year and a half. And my best friend that I grew up with and went to high school, she had gotten to the ironworkers kind of right after high school, and she's the one who talked me into going and signing up for the ironworkers, and that's a 4-year apprenticeship there. So 6 years later, here I am.
Here you are. All right.
I never thought I'd figure out what I wanted to do. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But
there's nothing wrong with continually growing.
Yes.
What was your very first job?
Very first job was, on paper, was Dairy Queen out in Lordstown.
All right.
Yep.
And that was, were you in high school or out of high school?
I was in high school. Yep.
Okay. And what was your first job out of high school?
First job out of high school, probably working in the fab shops. I worked in one main one on Victoria Road in Austin town. That's Custom Metal Works. Worked there for a while, and then went and tried my serving gig thing, salon thing, and then after that I went and got in Quality Metal Works down in Youngstown. And then after that, I got into the ironworkers.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your position title at Custom Metal Works?
I was mainly just a shop hand or a welder. Once I got more experience, like later on down the road, the first shop that I worked at, I kind of just helped out, but then they began to show me the machines and how to saw and everything. And then once I got to the other shop, I was welding and using the big ironworker machines and bend presses and doing all that fancy stuff.
And then you had a little stint of retail serving and...
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't know what I want to be, what I want to do.
When you were serving, what do you remember, like what drove you to like, all right, I'm going to get out of the shop and I'm going to go serve for a while?
I was tired of just staring at a wall, working at a fab shop, hot, sweaty all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, I want to be a girl too, I want quick money. So that's why I did the serving gig. Then I'm like, man, I'm a people person, but I don't have the best people skills. So I was like, man, maybe serving and salon thing's definitely not for me. I like using my hands and the type of, mechanical work, I guess, that comes around with working in a shop. And it makes me feel like wanted, needed, and I get like a confidence boost, after finishing projects and stuff like that. I'm like, man, I actually feel kind of badass that I just did that.
Produce a thing.
Yeah.
I
And seeing and like being able to like, I used to do weld like water tower ladders, and so I'm like, man, that's kind of a sketchy thing. You know, somebody's life depends on this, so it's like that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
When you explained how that led to so you explained a little bit about the training. So when you were at MCCTC, you kind of talked about that, and then when you went back as an adult, how did you like the training? How did you feel about it at the time? And
I really liked it, just because I already had an idea going in, because I grew up tomboy. I grew up in the shop with my dad, so I already had like an idea what was going on. But I really liked welding, so that schooling was definitely very beneficial, especially to me now. It definitely made me excel way faster in my apprenticeship program, so I'm really thankful that I went through it and did it at the time. But it was a pretty good course, and it's sad that I don't even know if they have that course there anymore.
Oh.
People just don't want to work anymore, I guess.
Yeah. How long were you working in those other like you had a couple transition jobs? How long were you doing that before your apprenticeship with the union?
Let's see. Time it out. It's already been so long ago. It's crazy. First fab shop gig. That's hard to really put a timeline on, because during the summertime when I was in high school, sometimes I'd go and work too.
Sure.
And then during my when I was going through adult education, I was going there. I was doing working and then going to school, so that timeline can't really give. But there was probably 1.5 to 2 years of the bouncing around between the salon and serving gig thing. So, and then the other fab shop, I was probably there a year.
Okay.
Probably a good year. Yeah, I'd say a good year.
And then you've been with the union for 4 years?
6.
6
Yeah,
years, because your apprenticeship was 4 years long? All right.
Yep. So this is my 6th year.
Tell me about your apprenticeship a little bit. Like, how was it?
I was fortunate enough. Okay, so I'll just start at the beginning. When I first got in, I lived up in Erie with my dad, because he had moved up there, and I got in Pittsburgh's local.
Okay.
Went and tested everything, got in there. Things weren't going good at home, so I had to move back home. And thankfully, they let me join the apprenticeship program the same year. I had skipped 2 classes, unfortunately, had to make them up or whatever. So thankfully, I got in. We started out with, we had 2 classes. I think there was, you get 40, a whole group of 40. But by the time I got there was already down to 26 total people. And then by the end of our apprenticeship program, there was 5. Between drug tests and people just giving up and it not being for them, not working out.
Wow.
Yeah, we ended up with 5.
When you were in the apprenticeship, how many girls and how many guys were in there?
I was the only girl until my 4th year. Probably my 4th year. But when I first got in, my best friend Jess, she was in too. She was just in a different class. Or a different grade, I guess you can say, every year, as you could say. But yeah, we usually started the end of November, beginning of December, and it went to about May.
Okay.
And that was 1 week out of every month that we had to go to class. So that week we had to go through the whole filing for unemployment hassle thing, and that always sucked. But then the summer we had off, like summer break basically, just be able to work the whole time. And then you're basically practicing for your 4th year. It's called your topping out ceremony. You take a bunch of tests so you can get your journeyman's card. So they turn it into like a fun competition. But everybody gets all wound up and excited about it. There's a bunch of different activities we got to do, like a column climb. Got to time ties on a rebar mats. We have a burning competition, a welding competition. There's a bunch of different tasks you got to go. So it's a struggle, but it's fun. And thankfully, with the group of guys that I was in with or ended up with, we were all super close. we're like a little family. We still all hang out all the time. We all look out for each other, and thankfully it's like a little brother sister that we got going on there.
And so when you get sent out to different jobs, you get to run into them sometimes. That's nice.
And every once in a while, usually I'm the one who coordinates it. I'm like, hey, Friday night, everybody, let's go meet down at the Quench.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So, like, as a welder, like, I kind of get what a shop hand is. You're there to help, and you're kind of a gopher, and you're just there to fill in gaps and assist. As a welder, you have a more dedicated job. Can you, like, walk me through a typical welding day?
Typical welding day, depending on the job. If you're at a big job like I am, you got to wait for, like, a hot work permit. Then from there, you just need all your equipment. You got to make sure you're setting your welding machine at the right temperature. Depending on how thick of something you're welding or the specific task that you're going to be doing. You usually got to wear like some type of FR jacket or something so you don't burn yourself up. I got a full face welding hood that I got to put on. Depending on what we're welding, whether it's stainless or aluminum, which we usually don't do much of that. Sometimes you got to wear a respirator.
Okay.
So depending on the different tasks, there's different things you wear to protect yourself, so to say. But when it comes to welding, that was my favorite thing, what I try to do on every job. It's what I feel like I excelled in the most. It's definitely not easy. It definitely takes a lot of practice, and it's something that you gotta kind of have like an itch for.
Yeah.
But it's really calming, really satisfying in my opinion.
Right.
You get to go work by yourself. Nobody's bothering you, you know.
It's a skill and an art and a science all together.
It is. It's kind of like an art in a sense, depending on some stuff. But.
No, I get it. That makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words into your mouth, but what kind of challenges do you typically face on a day as a welder?
Tons, and not just specifically welding, just everyday ironwork. In ironwork, we build everything from libraries, schools, places like this, dental offices. We go in to do reconstruction. We tie rebar for concrete. We literally do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
So we run into potential hazards. We work with a crane all the time, so there's a bunch of different hazards we have to always be on deck and aware of with that. With welding, if you're welding in water, you can get shocked. Really, really sucks.
Yeah.
It won't kill you or nothing, but it'll wake you up. Yeah, it'll wake you up. But there's a lot of safety hazards and a lot of safety training we got to go through depending on the job. And I always got to deal with OSHA. OSHA's always around, you know, make sure everybody's in check. But most of the hazards just safety hazards you got to always be aware of because it's a very, very dangerous job.
Yeah.
And it's very, very hard on the body.
Okay.
So
you're kind of separated from the rest of the group because of what you're working with. But like, how often do you get to interact with the people that you're working with?
It depends on the task at hand. Usually we're all working together. It just depends on the job or like the portion of the job that we're on. Because usually, like, say you're building a building, you need like your steel erection, and then after that you go to your decking, which is the roof, and then if you need to like tie in any beams, like moment connections, that's when the welding and stuff all comes into place. Just depending on where you at in the job is like if I get to go work by myself, or usually it's like a gang oriented thing. Everybody's doing something, working together to get something done.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do you ever find it challenging to work with other people?
It is challenging. Me being a woman working in I guess can't really call it man straight anymore.
Yeah.
But it is challenging. I mean, I'm pretty laid back. I know how people are, and it takes a lot to upset me personally. And the best thing you do, in my opinion, is to let things go. You're at work. I'm here to make money type thing. Just keep it at that. But if I have had many challenges of dealing with men not being so respectful, more often than not, actually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've learned to brush it off, or if I know how to stay on my own also.
Yeah.
But those are mainly the hardest challenges.
Well,
it's
and
not
like
even that bad, really.
yeah, and like what's a typical strategy you use when a comment is made, for example?
I'm not the type of person to go like tell head of HR or anybody like that, but using construction words, it's usually hey, go fuck yourself.
Like the same words you heard in the kitchen too. I'm sure that.
Yeah. Those type of things. I don't. The best thing to do is just spit right back at them, so they really have nothing to say. They're more in shock than you say something back. But
yeah.
I'm thankful to everybody that I work with. I don't want to say protects me, but they got my back. So
right.
If anybody does say anything around, man, all the boys, they jump on them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's pretty nice to have that.
They let you handle the small stuff and they jump in if they think it goes a little too far.
I'll just give them a look. I got this one. I got this one. You guys step back.
You take care of the light work. Okay.
Yeah.
What shifts do you typically work?
Right now we're just doing your regular 40, and that's 7 to 3:30 about.
Yeah, day shift.
Yeah, day shift.
Do you ever have to do rotation?
Depending if we're doing like a shutdown, like a mill shutdown, I've had to do that before, but no.
What if you had to pick one? What's your preference?
Day shift all day.
Day shift all day.
Yep. A nice consistent 40 is good, but getting like Saturday or some overtime every once in a while is nice too.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know why that question was in between there, because now I'm going to ask you about like your relationship with management. Like we just talked about how some of the guys are good, some of the guys are not good, and that's normal.
Yeah.
I guess. What's your relationship with management like, or administration even?
You mean like I guess I'm kind of confused over.
I guess. Do you ever have any interpersonal struggles with administration or management like that?
Okay,
Do you ever run into stuff like that?
Not so much. They're pretty like if I were to go to them about it, they would definitely on the spot do something about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've had my own run-ins with people where I've seen things, because people like to doodle on porta-john walls, So, but I've never seen anything or experienced anything that I was like, wow, this needs to, something needs to happen. But especially the thing at work is everything's word of mouth. You never know, It's like almost if you went to somebody sometimes, there's not much they could do.
Right.
Which is sad, but word of mouth, It's like a telephone game every once in a while,
Are any of? But you feel like management always has your back. Do you ever feel like they're?
I've never had any run-ins like that where I never felt like not safe. I guess I should say.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone through any strikes at work?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever had to report any grievances for yourself or for someone else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. It seems like you've really covered a lot of good stuff in a short period of time. So
you're good.
Trying to think of the best ways to get more juicy stories out of you. No. What do you enjoy the most about your job?
When it comes down to it, I mean, let's see. For me, when we get a big project done and I'm able to sit back and say, wow, I just built that, or I just, we just went through all that hard work and we finally made it to here and I was a part of that, or I did this specific job and made that happen, that is very satisfying. And I think this job has given me more confidence, all in all, than anything. Which is really cool to say, because I never had a lot of confidence growing up and everything, and being able to go and, be proud of myself over something is really, really satisfying.
Sure.
Yeah. Even though, ironwork here isn't ironwork over in the big city like New York and everything. So we do everything at a much smaller scale, but still the stuff that we do here is still pretty badass.
Right.
You know?
You drive around and you look at buildings and you can point
Yeah.
at it and say, I worked on that
Dude,
when it was in
my
construction.
dad and my great grandpa used to say they used to do it. Now I get to do it. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
That is very cool. What do you like the least about your job?
Oh, let's see. The least, me being a typical girl saying it, being really dirty and sweaty, hot, sweaty, and really dirty. I hate it. Like working in the mills, not for me. New construction's where I'm at.
Does when you do your job sites always have appropriate facilities for you on site?
So it's becoming a newer thing that we're finally getting like a woman's porta-john and a men's, which usually the woman's has a lock on it. Usually somebody has a key, and so it never, like after a while, lock gets off and everybody gets to use it. Depending on the job, we do get like hand washing stations or whatever, but thankfully where I'm at now, I get to use the inside nice bathrooms.
See, nice.
If I have to never use porta potty again, I won't do it.
And you're at the stage of construction where it's not a locker room. There's not a shower. You're putting on your grubbies to go to work, and then you're going home to get cleaned up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's how our job works.
All right.
Bring extra clothes in the car if you have to. And,
Right. Fair enough.
Yep.
What's the atmosphere for women like at the workplace in general?
There are other women in different trades there, which is cool to see. And when I first got out there, I didn't see that many, so it's nice to see more women in other trades. We're all pretty nice to each other, and see another girl, just one of these, you know. But I don't know. I can't say anything's really different than it's ever been. You know?
Okay. Do you feel like the other women are supportive, or?
I would say so. Yeah. Usually, other women in the trades are very supportive of other women.
Yeah.
My hall sent me and my other friend to a women's workforce conference over in Washington. They have it in a different state or big city every year. And there was women from all trades. There was 2,000 of us there. So it was cool to go and see, like, wow, there are like a lot of women in the trades actually. But just because our small area here, I mean, now there's a couple other women in the apprenticeship coming up now, which is cool. But we're in such a small local that we don't get, you know, as many women as like the other bigger locals do in the bigger cities. So
Yeah.
but it's still cool to see like more and more girls are getting into it.
What you've already kind of talked about, like your own personal interaction with some guys who sometimes say, are they like that pretty much universally with all women, do you think? Like,
it's hard to say, but I mean, anything I say, I'm not trying to bash men in any means.
No.
But I know guys will be guys. You know, they see the new girl on the job site. Everybody has something to say. Everybody has to look up their social media every which way possible. I get people coming up to me. I do a little modeling for fun on the side. Oops, there you go. So I got people coming up to me all the time. Is that really you? Do you do this? I'm like, how do you guys find me? You know, 'cause I'm not going posting this stuff everywhere. So, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say everybody does it, but it's just a typical guy thing.
are they disrespectful about it, or is it just like a...
Some of the things they say, you know,
Yeah.
it definitely is very disrespectful, but I'm just the type of person, I don't care, you know. It
Yeah.
takes a lot to get under my skin. Now, a lot of other women probably would care, but it's too much energy for me to get involved, and a lot of people will be like, you know what, you're the reason stuff's going on, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, I just keep me out of the drama. I'm here to work, that's it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
if there's a big problem, I'll really deal with it, so.
So at the stage of construction you're at, right now with the battery plant, how many women are around on your typical shift right now?
I see probably 3 every day, but there's other ones in different portions of the building working. Just where I am, there's 3. There's 2 pipe fitters and a electrician.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you married?
I am not married.
Do you have any children?
Nope.
All right.
No kids.
And you're kind of younger, but I'll ask anyway. Have you ever been in the position where you're trying to wrestle with work and taking care of your own parents who might need help, or a family member that needs that kind of attention?
Thankfully, my family on both sides is all pretty close. So, the only thing, no, I'd say no. Yeah, I'd say no.
Okay. Is being part of the local union beneficial to you and your coworkers?
I'd say absolutely, especially our pay rate and our whole package is pretty dang good for this area, I'd say. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still difficult in some aspects, to survive, but I think we all benefit pretty well, especially from the pay and the benefits that we do get, which are nice. So yeah, I'd say we do pretty good.
Good.
That's why we're doing it. I'd say.
Right.
Because it's not an easy job. It's hard on the body. Most of us say we don't want to do it forever. So the money's good. That's what we're doing it for.
There you go. Does the company promote individuals from within? Like, you came on as a welder. Do you have any aspirations to do anything else?
Since I really enjoy welding, I also really enjoy like crafting and carpentry work type of stuff. I do that like on my free time. So I've always wanted to like maybe one day open up my own shop, building custom stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, because I know this. Who knows? This might be a forever gig. I don't know. We'll see. But if it weren't, then that's probably something I would work towards doing.
Sure. Do when other people are looking to get a different job, do they have to bid on it? Does the union promote people from within, or do they pull people in from the outside?
So the way it works, somebody will put out a job, and we have a bunch of different main contractors that strictly work with Local 207 because they have to hire out of our hall. They'll bid on the jobs, and then usually they already have their own group of guys, but if they need other people, they'll call the hall, say, hey, I need 2, 3, 1 people, come out to this job, and they'll send whoever we got in the hall out to that job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then within the hall, if you want to change your marketable skills, if you want to, I do welding now, but I want to learn this other thing, do they make that available to you? Is it easy?
Everything is pretty set. When you're going through apprenticeship school, you're an apprentice, and you learn all these different things that we do, like the welding, the burning, the rebar, structural, like we do mock-ups of like pre-engineered buildings, and the way our apprenticeship hall is set up was we're able to do like little mini jobs. They have like examples, and we build them and everything. So we get all in all well-rounded in everything, every task that we would do on any kind of job site. And then once you get your journeyman's card, you're a journeyman. So that means no more apprenticeship school. Your pay goes up, pay a little more in dues, blah blah blah. But you're pretty much marketed to be, once you're a journeyman, you're pretty much marketed to do anything.
Right. So you already have this base of all these different skills within them.
Some people are they have their spots where they are better than others, and once you get on a job, they, like your foreman, he'll put you in a spot where you're going to be most beneficial from, and do the best work, I guess you could say. He's gonna benefit the most from, and then every once in a while you get well known for that, so it might carry on to the next job, might not. Yeah,
but that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are there any accidents that you remember on the job site that stand out?
Very first job. I think it was my second year, first day on the job, or no, it was my second day on the job. Watched somebody fall and they died. They got life flighted out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait.
I had went to lunch with him the day before with another buddy, met him, and then the next day came into work, and he wasn't tied off. He was up on a beam running the mag drill, and he had a harness on, wasn't tied off. The mag drill caught and ripped him off the beam, and he fell probably 40-some feet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was really big eye-opening experience at such a young age. you know, like this shit's scary.
Yeah.
It's no joke. And then, other than that, I mean, people get like little injuries here and there, nothing crazy, but I'm trying to think. I think that's the main one that I remember.
Sure.
You know.
When you talked a lot about the safety precautions that you're already taking, when you walked me through a day, that was the lion's share of what you were talking about. So it does, it's not a safe environment just to be horsing around.
They try to make it safe, but
You're right.
It's always not safe.
Sure.
Gotta think that way.
Sure. And do you recall any episodes of violence at the workplace?
No.
Okay.
No, thankfully.
Do you have anything else that you want to add?
Trying to think. Kind of went through a lot of stuff. No, just that stuff ain't easy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And you definitely gotta have a hard mindset and a good work ethic, and not give up mentality, and then not let things get to you type of mentality. Because, like I said, it's not easy working around a bunch of guys all the time, and not easy being screamed at, you know, if I'm ever getting yelled at. They're doing it, you know. Some people can be rude about it, but they're mainly, that's how you learn, you know. You mess up, things happen, accidents happen. You gotta be able to take it, I guess. You gotta man up a little bit in a sense. You know, you gotta be, even though you're a woman, you gotta man up.
You gotta man up.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. But all in all, yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Oh, that's very cool. All right, I noticed your shirt.
Yep.
Which is cool. I think I've heard somebody else talk about those shirts too.
Yep. Which is really cool. On the bigger jobs, they do stuff like this, like little fundraisers and stuff, sell T-shirts for breast cancer awareness, and everybody, even the guys, wear pink. It's pretty cool, and every once in a while people run around selling candy bars, helping with other organizations and kids softball stuff, and it's pretty cool.
All right. Well, that was really good. I enjoyed it very much. If you have anything, I mean, like, you're welcome to anything that you think of, you can go ahead with it. But if not, we can be done.
I think there probably is some, but there's a lot of info in a little bit of time. Yeah. No, I think that's it. Just to, whoever does, you know, read this and get into this, hopefully it gives them a little push to maybe try it out, because it'd be nice to see more women get involved in stuff like this, because there are some things we're a little bit better at than the guys sometimes. Yeah? They always say women are better welders than the men, just because of how, I don't know, they say soft-handed, but... But, no, hopefully this inspires some people. Yeah. In all trades, I'd say. I'd say the trades, in my opinion, is the way to go. I knew specifically I wasn't made for college. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be a veterinarian, you know. That was my dream. But my parents didn't have the money, and I knew from a young age I didn't want to live in debt, so I was like, I want to be like my dad.
Well, I feel like from the way you've described it, my impression is you really get a huge amount of satisfaction out of a job well done and being good at what you do and having something to show for it. And it shows when you tell me about it. Yeah. So
it's definitely very satisfying. Sometimes it's not always so satisfying. It's a little harder, but yeah, you learn. It's all a learning experience. If you're not learning, then you're not doing anything, in my opinion. So sometimes you gotta learn a couple times.
Very good. Well, thanks so much for doing this with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is nice.